Hey guys, Taz with Taz Exotics here, and in today's episode we are going to be focusing pretty much entirely on what we feed our dart frogs, how we feed our dart frogs, and the whole process that goes to feeding our dart frogs. This is one of the biggest pros of having dart frogs in your house, is that you can completely make your own food without having to go to the store, worry about buying crickets, having mealworms in your house, all those types of things. Everything is pretty much self-sustaining. It seems like a lot here, but it's really not. It's actually quite easy once you get all the materials you need. This is a booming fly culture right here. And this is what they're supposed to look like 2 weeks after you start making them. You do not want to use your fly cultures until 2 weeks after you initially seed them. So what you're going to need, 32-ounce deli cup. I get these at my local deli. I think I paid $3 for 20 of them today. And you actually don't need that many. I use 2 of these a week, but I actually reuse a lot of them. So I just kind of scoop out all the gross stuff, clean it out with some hot water and dish soap, let it dry, and you can reuse these. So it's not that big of a deal. The next thing you're going to need is a lid. I use these mesh lids that I have just kept from, I actually ordered this fruit fly culture off of Frog Daddy. Shout out to Alex Menke from Frog Daddy. Because I think in the last video I showed you that some of my cultures got ruined by actually flying fruit flies that got in there and bred. So they're not flightless anymore. So I wanted a whole new bloodline to start making my own cultures all over again. So that's what this is. It's a nice starter kit. But I keep the lids. You want mesh lids because it creates a good environment for the flies, and I feel like they do better. So you need some breathing, you need some airflow for your flies. So the next thing you're going to need is some fruit fly media. I ordered this from Josh's Frogs, obviously. You can make your own at home. There's formulas online, but this stuff works for me, so I use it. This bag cost me, I think, $32.99 shipped. It's a 3-pound bag, and it lasts quite a while. I think I go through maybe 2 a year, maybe not quite 2 a year, but that's where we are now. So what you want to do is you want to pour your fruit fly media into a deli cup. So I use, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch. You can use more if you'd like. This is about the formula that I use. I have 2 here ready. And the next thing you want to do is pour boiling water into there. Like so. Now, here's the tricky part. You do not want to put too much water in. Because if you put too much water in, it makes them too runny. And all the gross media will just fall down and kill your fruit flies when you're trying to pour them out. I like to go for a consistency like a very thick oatmeal. And I kind of made it this way. You want it like a blizzard, like you get at Dairy Queen. You want it to hold its shape when you hit it against, but when you pour it, you don't want it to run up the side. And I think this is about perfect. So, I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually not pouring, but it is moving a little bit. So that's a pretty good start. If it gets too runny, you can add more media. If it is too dry, you can add a little more water. I would go with less water first, so you're not using up a bunch of media. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand. Not helping here. So that's a little bit thicker, as you can see. So I'm going to add just a little more water to it. Not a lot. Like I said, you want to go for a very thick oatmeal. I'm going to show you the difference between the two. There is a big difference right now. So that's a little bit too dry. You can see that it's kind of dry and clumpy. And the way this one looks, it looks more like an oatmeal. So we want to add a little more water. And that's about right, I think. It looks a little bit better, and when you, this is my test. When I smack it on the ground, it holds its shape, but again, it does not pour out. So that's perfect. So now the next thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna let these sit and cool down, and then we'll go to the next step. I figured we'd do a quick update on Roly Poly the tadpole. That's right, he or she has a name. This is Roly Poly the tadpole, the one from our first video. And as you can see, Roly Poly is ginormous compared to what he used to be. see if I can get a good video of him again. There he is. Oh. It's hard doing this with one hand, guys. But Roly Poly is twice the size, maybe even 3 times the size as he was. And he's going to be a frog in a few months. And also an update on the little brother or sister. And as you can see, it is developing into a pretty little tadpole himself. Unfortunately, the other egg is infertile. But you can see the tadpole is forming very nicely. If you look closely, you can kind of see a heartbeat. So in another week or 2, this guy will be out of the egg and water himself. So we're very excited to see what these guys look like. Thanks. All right, everybody. It's been about a half hour, 40 minutes or so that these have been cooling. They're a little bit warm on the bottom, but they're perfectly fine to start doing what we need to do. So there you can see everything's starting to solidify just a little bit. Everything is ready to go. And I kind of want to talk to you about the process of putting flies in here. So obviously you can't start your own fruit fly cultures without a starter fruit fly culture kit. I ordered this fruit fly culture from Alex Menke at Frog Daddy. He's never steered me wrong. He is great. He ships quick. You're going to need a starter kit in order to build your own fruit fly cultures. Another thing to remember is do not touch the cultures after you put fruit flies in here for 2 weeks. It takes 2 weeks to become just a regular fruit fly culture to a booming one. And so what you're going to do is you're going to put fruit flies in here, all right, and they are going to lay their eggs, which eggs turn into maggots. The maggots will eat this medium on the bottom, go into the pupa stage, and then out will come fruit flies. So if you see here on the side, all those little hard things there, that is the pupa stage that the maggots go into fruit flies. Right there you can see some of the maggots at the bottom. It's some people it freaks them out, others it doesn't. It's not a big deal. Everything's contained within this container, so you don't have to worry about it. And then they hatch out into all these fruit flies. So the next step after your media has cooled, I add, as you can see, Alex Menke does this Excelsior stuff. You can order that online. I, however, didn't want to order it. I just use something a little bit more simple. I use coffee filters. You can get a whole bunch of them for like $1.25 at your local Dollar General. So what I do is I grab, 2 or 3 at the most. And what I do is I stick it down in my fruit fly culture and stick it right in the middle so that it stays put. And that gives the fruit fly something to live on while they're doing their duty. So there's one. And let's do the other one here. There's 2. And you have to have your lids ready because the next step is the most important. We're now going to pour about anywhere between 50 to 200 fruit flies in each one of these. And then we are going to put the lids on them and we are going to let them go for 2 weeks. We are not going to touch them for 2 weeks. It's also important, before I forget, to after 2 weeks is up and you're going to use one of these cultures to feed your frogs, don't use every fly that's in the culture, because then you don't have fruit flies to keep populating in this culture. You're only going to be able to use it for like a week. Each culture that I make lasts 4 weeks. It lasts the 2 weeks that it takes for the culture to initially boom, like this one, and then I use it for an additional 2 weeks while the remaining fruit flies inside breed and make more fruit flies. So my trusty son Tristan is going to hold the camera here while I put the fruit flies in.
Hello.
Okay, so make sure you get that.
Okay.
Can you see really good there?
Yes.
All right, so the best way to do it, try to get this, is to the tap method. You're going to tap the fruit flies, and you're going to open the lid slightly, and let a bunch in there. And a bunch in there. And then you're going to put the lid on so they don't get out. And now you have cultured fruit flies. Again, you don't want to mess with these for 2 weeks. You let them on a shelf, and they will do their thing. And in 2 weeks, they will turn from 200 fruit flies into 4,000 fruit flies. All right, guys. Appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.